Guys, I am really goddamn scared for the state of horror movies. Ouija is a movie that is about a Ouija board and it kills people. Sort of. What it's actually about is there's a group of friends and this one girl uses a Ouija board and then she ends up dead, so her friends use the Ouija board to try and see what happened to her, and there's like a ghost demon thing as usual, and that's pretty much the entire movie, even though there's actually no real scares in the movie. Going into this movie, here's what I thought going into this movie. I thought to myself, this probably isn't going to be very good, but as long as there's a couple good scares in there, I won't be that hard on it, because I saw Annabelle a few weeks ago, and I wanted to die during that movie because it was not scary at all. So this one, I just hoped for something to scare me. And I left this movie before it ended because of how dull and just boring it was. Acting in horror movies isn't generally very good, but in this movie I thought the main girl did a decent job, and I mean decent. I'm not saying she was good in the movie, but she was passable as opposed to the rest of the cast who was just absolute garbage. This movie just pulls out every single horror cliche you can think of, and it sort of does it in a different way because they pull out these certain cliches where you expect something to pop up but then it doesn't pop up, so there's no tension there. So like I was sitting there a couple times like, oh, here comes a jump scare, and then there was nothing, and I think it was kind of like the movie Wink at you, like, ha, you thought we were gonna scare you. No. And you just don't care about anyone in this movie. It's just, there's a bunch of high schoolers, even though most of them look like they're fucking 25. It's stupid, it's boring. Like, there's so much of this movie, they aren't even trying to scare you. It takes about 45 minutes for them to actually get to the Ouija board. What the fuck? Why do I care about the 45 minutes of them dealing with their friend's death when there's no reason for me to? I just got so bored. That's why I left, because this movie attempted scares probably less than 5 times in the amount of time I was there. So how do you do that for over an hour? I don't get it in a horror movie, how you can do that. How this can be such a cheap, dull, boring movie that I just did not care about at all. It's just so terrible. And I guess spoilers here, because I'm going to talk about the plot for a second. I left right around the time where the girl was investigating the murders, because apparently the big bad in this movie is a mom, and it's literally just someone who looks like an old mom. That's scary, because that just reminded me of Oculus, which is something I watched like a week ago. And Oculus, the big bad in that movie was just, once it was revealed, it was so underwhelming. The movie itself wasn't as bad as this one, but it was still not very good. But back to this movie, just the main scary thing in this movie is a 1940s mom. What the fucking fuck? And they were investigating, and then apparently she had a family. I bet she killed her daughters, and now she still haunts the house, and blah blah blah. And then the kids are gonna get killed, and yada yada. I bet they set up for a sequel, and if Ouija 2 comes out next year, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I can't even put into words what I'll do if Ouija 2 happens. Ouija is a terrible horror movie that has absolutely no scares, no atmosphere whatsoever. The acting is pretty much bad across the board except for the main girl. I left the movie. I've only ever left a few movies in my entire life. One was My Soul to Take. That was probably the first movie I ever walked out of. That movie was just, whew. I also left Spy Kids for All the Time in the World. I still remember the title, and I remember having a bonfire with all the Spy Kids stuff in my yard. And this movie, I think I've only walked out of 3 movies, and these are them. So that should tell you how bad I think this movie is. Ouija gets an F. Do not ever go see it. I'm gonna go see John Wick probably tomorrow. I've heard a lot of good things about that, so hopefully it's a lot better than this movie. So, what'd you guys think of Ouija? If you have seen it, if you haven't, don't go fucking see it, please. Rate me for comments down there and tell me what you think, and if you like this video, hit that subscribe button down there, because if you don't, Ouija sucks.